My name's Nader Najad, and if you're looking for Halifax content on YouTube, you've come to the right place. Hit subscribe, buckle your damn seatbelts. What a great time it is to talk about moving to Canada. So many people are coming to university in the fall. You know, people are always looking for great ways to, be part of another country or look for new opportunities. And that's what I'm here for, to talk about life in Canada with you. So subscribe to this channel, because if you finally get accepted to come to Canada, you're about to move here, you're just about to fly and land, and all of a sudden your plane stops. And then there's an announcement. And they say, we have to land the plane. And then the plane gets landed and they say, you know what? You can't come to Canada. And you're like, what? And the flight attendant's gonna walk up to you and say it's because you didn't subscribe to Nader's YouTube channel. So be sure to subscribe and get all the great information about moving to Canada. So, life in Canada, what is it like? What are some general characteristics about Canada and our country? And if you just really want to, become Canadian and learn about our country, then what are some things you need to know, and what are some things that define our country? We're known for being polite. Canadians are known for being polite, like super polite, like saying sorry for everything, and we don't say sorry like the Americans, we say sorry. We hold doors for you. We're really kind and polite. There are some people in Canada who aren't polite, so if you get some rude people, some ignorant people, you know what? We're not perfect. But Canada is notoriously polite, and a lot of people moving here will tell you the same thing. Also, one thing you need to know is Canada is a large country. I'm talking about really big. I'm talking about really, really big. Like, if you want to, for me to get from Ontario to Halifax, just where I go to school, which is getting from central, Ontario, over here, getting all the way from here to the East Coast. And Ontario's not on the other side of the country. It's more this way, and then you have the East Coast. That takes me around 20 hours, 18 to 22 hours, depending on traffic and other things, but around 22 hours to drive it. So it's a big country, and if you want to explore the whole country by car, it's going to take you 40, 60, it's going to take you a really long. If you want to drive the whole thing and literally go everywhere, it's going to take you 100 hours or more. You can't just drive the whole country. You can, but it's going to take a pretty damn long time. So that's how big our country is. Things are really spread out. Things are wider. Let me give you an idea. If you're coming from India, traffic may be very congested depending on where you're from. That happens on the 401, it happens on the highways, but generally you're going to have country roads that you can literally drive for miles or kilometers depending on your system, and you will see nobody. You'll just be like, there's no one there. There's some places just trees, there's no houses, and this exists in Canada. It's one of the things that makes our country extremely beautiful and why I recommend coming here. Another thing you need to know about Canada is that people are, generally colder than other countries. We're more polite, but get this, we're a little bit colder than some places in Europe. And what I mean by that is we have a personal bubble. In some cultures, it's okay to put your arms around somebody and kiss them to say hello. Just 3 kisses in Iran, or many other countries, or Italians will kiss each other on the face. Same with Argentinians. So people from Argentina. So that's really normal, but here in Canada we tend not to do that. Not only do we have a personal bubble is this invisible bubble where if you get into someone's bubble, they don't like it. It's just uncomfortable for them, and a lot of people feel that here in Canada. Also, we're not used to talking to people we don't know. Me personally, I'm a bit annoying. So if I see somebody on the street, I'm going to talk to them, ask them how their day went. I talk to strangers. But like I say, I talk to strangers. Other people don't do it. A lot of people don't. If you're in an elevator, someone might just look in the corner. It's called elevator silence. That's something you may experience not just in Canada, but in North America as a whole. And I encourage you to actually break that boundary. A lot of people will say that's our custom, but it's just someone's discomfort. Trust me, it's more awkward to divert eye contact and not look and talk to somebody than it is to just talk to them. And I feel like a lot of Canadians struggle with this, perhaps because it's just not taught as much in our culture. culture. I'm not going to say it's a part of our culture, it's supposed to be that way. I think it's just not taught very much. I think that closeness, that physical intimacy, between friends and acquaintances it's just not something that's taught or, acknowledged or really accepted. It's just different here. So we live in a very spaced out country, and we like to keep away from each other, like keep our space. So, but me particularly, I'm kind of the opposite. So I don't know. I really enjoy it. Like maybe it's the culture I grew up. Maybe it's my family. Maybe it's having traveled and gone to Europe a little bit and seeing more of that. But honestly, it comes down to make sure that if you're doing something with somebody, like you're gonna go hug somebody, make sure they're comfortable first. And if they're comfortable, I encourage you to, especially with the talking, to break those barriers. Like if you see somebody in an elevator, don't say I watched Notter's YouTube video and ignore them. Say, okay, I watched Notter's YouTube video. It's not because they don't like me, it's just the way it is, but I can make conversation. I'm giving you permission. Make conversation, that's a good thing. These people will likely open up with you. You'll notice once you initiate a conversation, people jump in with it. They're just as friendly as anywhere else in the world. The last thing I want to touch on is we are not as frank, as honest as some people in other countries. For example, Germany, they will tell you, okay, if your kids were loud and being obnoxious last night, when you see your neighbor on the street, they're just going to be like, oh, your kids were obnoxious last night. Like, they don't mean it in the most rude way. They're just honest, right? And they'll openly talk about their political views with you at the dinner table. They'll say, wow, that shirt's ugly. Like, maybe not like blatantly like your shirt's ugly, but then maybe like, I think a red shirt would look better with those pants. Like, just frankly. Just like that. In Canada, they could think you're wearing the ugliest thing ever, but they'll be like, wow, that looks amazing, Carl or Emily. They'll just lie to you. And I personally think, I like to go with a happy medium between those two. Like, I don't like to be like, that's ugly. And I also don't like to be like, that's the best looking thing in the world, because I want to help that person, but I cushion it. I'm honest, but I cushion it. So I'm like in the middle of those two groups. Same with the intimacy thing. I'm not like, I'm in Italy, like just downtown Italy, like hanging out, and I'm not like cold. I'm in the middle too. So I find your happy medium and find where other people are comfortable. But those are just some things about our country. Food is cheaper than England. Like buying meat and stuff is cheaper than England and the UK, but it's more expensive from what I've seen than the US and some other parts of the world. So I look at food prices by just Googling them, because it differs between city. I know Halifax is way more expensive than Ontario. Some parts of BC are even more expensive. Some like weird parts of Nunavut are like stupid expensive for a bottle of water, and some places are dirt cheap. So it just really depends on like where you're going, how long you're staying there, what city you're in. So I would actually Google that, like Ontario prices, or the city specifically is important. Don't just look at the province, because the province is huge, like I said. Look at the city, and you can compare it online. So that's my advice. That's what life in Canada is like. I hope this has opened up a little bit of information for you. There's tons of videos on YouTube like this, but since I'm covering this content, I thought I'd make one too. Thanks for watching.